the #1 prospect in all of baseball. And it's hard for me to say he's a prospect. I got to be honest with you. Sasaki, after covering the World Baseball Classic, seeing him throw in person, this Japanese superstar is debuting on this list at #1. He just recently signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's got a splitter. He's got so many incredible pitches. His fastball's over 100 miles an hour, reaching 102. Jonathan, at some point, obviously, he's the sure bet on this list, on this show. But do you view him as a prospect after everything he's done in a Japanese professional league that it just keeps churning out stars?
Well, obviously we do. Otherwise, he wouldn't be #1 on our list. But, we follow the rules that baseball has set for the international bonus pool system, and he counts towards that, so he counts as a prospect, just like we counted Shohei Ohtani when he came and signed with the Angels. And he's #1 for a reason, and baseball largely thought he was the #1 prospect for a reason, because the stuff is just ridiculous. You mentioned the fastball. Even though the velocity was a little bit down in 2024, he's still average in the upper 90s. But the thing that's the real separator for me is that splitter. If you watch video of that splitter, I don't know how anyone ever hits or lays off of that pitch. It is an 80 on the scouting scale. We don't give those out lightly. And those two pitches alone are enough to have him really high on the list. Throw in the fact that he flashes a plus slider and he commands all three pitches well. And that's why he's clearly the best pitching prospect and the #1 guy on our board.
And following up on Jonathan, what kind of blows me away, though he's pitched 394 innings in Japan, I still look at him as the development project.
Really?
Well, you look at it, his highest number of innings has been 129. He physically looks like he hasn't come close to hitting his maturity level. And though he's got two dominant pitches, he can scatter his fastball a little bit, and he's still a work in progress with his other pitches. And so he couldn't have gone to a better organization because they're so deep. They know how to transition Japanese pitchers now to American baseball. And Jim, you look at him and you go, oh my gosh, even though he's great now, I can't imagine what he's going to look like with a couple more years of physical growth.
I had that exact conversation with the Dodgers talking about Roki Sasaki. I agree with all that. I think that splitter might be the best pitch in the world. I think his athleticism and the mobility in his delivery is off the charts. But like you said, it's interesting. I think he's going to be good this year right away, and I think he's going to continue to get better. He could command the fastball better. He can refine the slider more. And, I think he's a future Cy Young Award winner. But, yeah, he went to an organization that gets the most out of players. Jonathan mentioned his executive poll. The Dodgers are, #1 or top 3 in just about everything in terms of acquiring talent, making guys better. They do a great job developing pitchers. And I can't wait to see what they do with Sasaki.
Let's move on to this topic. Which organizations are celebrating this top 100 list? It's a big deal to have the most prospects on the top 100 countdown. The Cubs and the M's lead the way with 7. The Tigers with 6, along with the Chicago White Sox. And man, Jim, thankfully the Dodgers have 6 as well, because they're having a hard time getting big league talent to Chavez Ravine. So it's good to see they've got a farm system. My goodness, are the rich getting richer, Jim?
No, they are. They weren't quite #1 on that list, but I think in terms of what organization does the best job winning at the big league level while continuing to develop talent, it's clearly the Dodgers. And you look at this list, it shows they get players from all different sources. They don't usually have first-round picks or high first-round picks. Roki Sasaki, obviously, that was international recruiting efforts there. Dalton Rushing was a second-round pick. Josue DePaulo was not a big-time international signing. He was mid-level money. Jackson Ferris and Zaire Hope came over in a prospect trade. Yes, the Dodgers do trade for prospects. Alex Freeland was a third-rounder. So not only do they excel at finding players in all kind of aspects of player acquisition, I think from a development standpoint, they do as good a job as anybody developing hitters, developing pitchers, just making players be as good as they can be. They do that, I think, better than anyone. So that's why I think a year from now, they may be #1 on this list, because they have a bunch of young guys like Kellen Lindsey and Emil Morales and Eduardo Quintero, who all could be on this list next year, who are all teenage players who are on the rise. We may have in the top 100 show next year, too. It's just they do a lot of amazing work, aside from spending like crazy at the big league level.
I thought Jim was going to just tack off all 30 of the Dodgers' top 30 off the top of his head, which would surprise none of us. I'm going to talk about the team that had actually more top 100 prospects than the Dodgers, the Seattle Mariners, which maybe they sort of qualify as a sneaky good because people don't realize it. But the thing that really stands out is its 7 bats. Not long ago, this system was known for the Logan Gilberts of the world. It was all about the arms. They're in the big leagues now. They went 3 high school bats in a row in the draft with Cole Young, Harry Ford, and Colt Emerson, who's now at the top of that list. And they've done a very good job of developing these guys. They're starting to reach the upper levels. Young and Ford are. They acquired talent in a number of ways, also via the draft. You see Lazaro Montez and Felman Celestin, big international signings. They're not afraid to aggressively promote them to full season ball, so they're kind of on a faster track. And sort of inside baseball here, when we put our list together, we send it out for feedback. And Michael Arroyo and Johnny Firmello, and Firmello isn't going to be back till midseason because of a torn ACL, got a ton of feedback from evaluators of other teams that they should be on the top 100, and that's why they see them on the list.
And then for me with the Cubs, one of the other organizations there with 7 top 100 prospects, what stands out to me most about that group is how close they are to the bigs. You guys talked on the main show about Matt Shaw and how he could be a National League Rookie of the Year candidate this year because there is an opportunity for him there at third base. But Cade Horton, Owen Casey, Moises Ballesteros, James Triantos, Kevin Alcantara, all of those guys have AAA experience already. And if you look at the good major league clubs like the Dodgers, like the Orioles the last few years, they are good because of their depth. They have another level waiting at the AAA level. Is there a great need for outfielders right now with the Cubs after the acquisition of Kyle Tucker? No, but if they could bring in an Owen Casey, Kevin Alcantara got time at the major league level a little bit last year, they have enough options to plug and play there, and then they have Jefferson Rojas who's rising through the ranks. This is the type of farm system you need if you want to be competitive year in and year out.
It must be so difficult to leave certain players off a list like this because there's so much talent in this sport. They want to be on the big show, the top 100 prospects list. So, all right, Jim, this is your opportunity to, all 3 of you guys, give us that player that didn't make the top 100 that you think has a chance to break into this list the next time you reveal it. We do need to talk a bit more about the #1 prospect in all of baseball, Roki Sasaki, who just signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's going to be part of an incredible starting rotation at the big league level because that's where he's almost guaranteed to debut, right, Jim? I mean, there's no high A ball for Roki Sasaki. This is a slam dunk #1 prospect, is he not?
No, he is. I mean, it's a little bit of a strange situation because he's pitched professionally in Japan, but look, he's subject to international bonus pools. He still counts as a rookie, so we count him as a prospect. And I think if we're talking the last 15 years or so, you're talking about the best pitching prospects. You're talking about Paul Skeens. You're talking about Steven Strasburg. You're talking about Shohei Ohtani. And if you're going to compare him to those guys, they're all some of the best pitching prospects we've ever seen, in history. I think the way I kind of look at it is, I think those guys, the other 3 guys might have had higher floors. They had a better track record of durability than Roki Sasaki had. I think they had better command of secondary pitches. In terms of ceiling, you could say Sasaki has the highest ceiling of any of these guys. I think that splitter's the best pitch in the world right now. And if the Dodgers help him get better with the fastball command and slider, he ultimately might be better than Skeens or Ohtani or Strasburg.
Jonathan, is that it? Is that the only area of development that he needs, which is fastball command?
I think so. The slider could get refined a little bit more. It's good enough, especially because the splitter is so ungodly and impossible to hit, and the fastball is plenty of life. It's straightened out at times. I think the other thing is, if you can add a little more strength, just because there are some very tiny durability concerns. He missed some time last year. The velocity was down just a little bit. We're splitting hairs with a guy that's good. And to Jim's point, it was like when everyone knew Steven Strasburg was going to be the #1 pick in the draft, you'd find the little tiniest things to pick apart when a guy is that highly profiled. And he was going to go into a rotation as quickly as both Strasburg and obviously Ohtani did.
Sam, did you start backwards here? You're not wondering who's going to make the top 100 first. Did you just start at #1, knowing Roki Sasaki is hands down the cream of the crop when it comes to prospects in baseball right now?
Yeah, I mean, there is some debate whether you choose a pitcher like Roki Sasaki, even one who can touch triple digits and has an 80-grade slider, or go with Roman Anthony, right? Like somebody who is going to be playing every day, can get 600 plate appearances. The other guys have mentioned some of the durability concerns with Roki Sasaki. But one thing I want to point out about Sasaki is this isn't 10 years ago. This isn't even 5 years ago. We have metrics on how his pitches are already playing, and we can plug that in and project that forward. And when you're talking about that velocity, when you're talking about the movement on the splitter and some of the killed spin, and we can already see what the slider can do, it's much easier to envision who he will be. And as we've said plenty of times, the ceiling is somebody who can win multiple Cy Young awards. There's not somebody else on this list like that.
For Sam Dykes, for Jonathan Mayo, Jim Callis, I'm Greg Amsinger. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers. No, not just for winning the World Series in October, but for also having the #1 prospect in all of baseball.
佐々木朗希の才能がこれほどまでに称賛されるのは、決して偶然ではありません。彼の圧倒的な速球、驚異的なスプリッター、そして成長を続けるピッチングスタイル、これらすべてが、彼を MLB の未来を担う存在として確立させています。すでに日本のプロ野球で数々の記録を打ち立て、WBC でも世界を驚かせた佐々木。そんな彼が、ロサンゼルス、ドジャースという名門球団でさらなる飛躍を遂げようとしているのです。このニュースが発表された瞬間、多くの野球ファンが興奮と期待に包まれました。なぜなら、ドジャースは単に資金力があるだけのチームではなく、選手を最高の状態へと導く開発力を持つ球団だからです。過去には大谷翔平をも驚かせた育成環境を持ち、常に選手のポテンシャルを最大限に引き出してきました。そんな環境の中で、佐々木朗希がどれほど進化するのか、想像するだけでワクワクしますね。ドジャースの未来を背負う右腕、佐々木の加入により、ドジャースの投手陣はさらに厚みを増します。すでに MLB トップクラスのローテーションを誇るチームに、新たなスターが加わることで、ワールドシリーズ制覇の可能性は一段と高まるでしょう。彼のデビュー戦では、スタジアム全体がその一球に息を飲み、全米が彼の投球に釘付けになることは間違いありません。そして何より、佐々木はまだ発展途上の選手、現在でも驚異的なパフォーマンスを見せていますが、ドジャースでのトレーニング、MLB の厳しい環境の中で、さらに進化していくでしょう。もしかすると、数年後には、史上最高の投手として語られる存在になっているかもしれません。野球界を揺るがす、最強のスプリッター。現時点でも、世界最高の球と称される彼のスプリッター。その破壊力は計り知れず、MLB の打者たちがどのように対応するのかが大きな注目ポイントとなるでしょう。これまで日本の打者ですら苦しめられてきたこの魔球が、アメリカのスラッガーたちにどれほどの衝撃を与えるのか、想像しただけで鳥肌が立ちます。実際、スカウトや評論家の間では、MLB 史上最高の変化球の一つ、とも評されており、80点満点のスカウティング評価を受けたのも納得の結果、佐々木のスプリッターが、これからどんな伝説を生み出すのか、楽しみで仕方がありません。MLB の歴史を塗り替える可能性、ここで思い出されるのが、かつてメジャーリーグに衝撃を与えた選手たちです。スティーブン・ストラスバーグ、ポールス・キーンス、そしてもちろん大谷翔平。彼らが登場したとき、それは単なる、新しい選手のデビューではなく、野球の新時代の幕開けでした。そして今、佐々木朗希がその名を連ねることになるのです。特に、彼のポテンシャルは、まだ成長の余地がある、という点で非常に魅力的です。ドジャースの指導の下で、速球のコントロールやスライダーの精度を向上させれば、彼は単なるエース級投手ではなく、MLB を支配するモンスター級の投手へと進化するでしょう。皆さんの期待と予想を聞かせてください。佐々木朗希の MLB デビューは、間違いなく今シーズン最大の話題の一つ。彼の成長と成功を見届けるのは、私たち野球ファンにとっても最高の楽しみです。ここで皆さんに質問です。佐々木朗希は MLB の舞台で、どれほどのインパクトを与えるでしょうか。彼はルーキーイヤーでどんな成績を残すと思いますか。未来のサイヤング賞投手となる可能性は、ぜひコメントで皆さんの意見を聞かせてください。そして、このチャンネルではこれからも佐々木朗希をはじめ、MLB の注目選手や話題をどんどん取り上げていきます。気になる方は、チャンネル登録&高評価を忘れずに、一緒に MLB の未来を見届けましょう。